Fox News alert now. The White House confirming the video showing the brutal beheading of an American journalist, Steven Sotcliffe, is authentic. This as President Obama sends 350 more military personnel to Iraq. Last week he said he did not have a strategy yet. Is there one now? Joining us right now is Rear Admiral John Kirby, Pentagon spokesperson. Thanks so much, Admiral, for joining us early this morning. The president did say his strategy is to destroy and degrade ISIS. Did you know that, and how do you plan on doing it?
Well, yes, we've been obviously engaged in trying to degrade and disrupt and destroy ISIL targets in Iraq now for quite some time. But I would also say that we also are very well aware that it's not going to be just a military solution here. There's got to be a broader-based strategy, and we're working on that right now.
Well, Admiral, he did say the strategy was to destroy ISIS, but he also said the goal was to make it a manageable problem. So that's two different things. One is to destroy, the other is to manage it. From the Pentagon point of view, which one is it?
It's actually both, and I know that sounds a little bit strange to hear. Yeah, I know. I get
both.
that, but the only way you're going to destroy an organization like this is by defeating their ideology. You can bomb them every day, and you're not going to get rid of the ideology that allows them to fester and to continue to get resourced and to grow, to train and to equip. The only way to do that, to defeat the ideology, is good governance. Good governance in Iraq and good governance in Syria. Now, we've got a unity government standing up in Iraq, and that's a good thing, and it's promising. We don't have any good governance in Syria. The Assad regime continues to kill their own people and just deprave the whole countryside. And so that's a problem. And we've got to look for ways to work with the moderate Syrian opposition to try to enable good governance to grow inside Syria. But that's not going to be an overnight solution. And as I said yesterday when I was in my press conference here, I know that doesn't make good copy for Pentagon reporters because they're used to seeing us destroy things. And there's a part of that. There's a piece of that. There's a role for that. But it's not going to be the ultimate solution.
Admiral, the American people are more and more so demanding and really wanting action taken. They don't want inaction. They don't want to be overly cautious, not when we see Americans beheaded. The former advisor to Margaret Thatcher, Nyla Gardner, said this in terms of the confidence that the world leaders have in our president to do something.
I think this is a president who has invested very little in international alliances. He doesn't spend a lot of time speaking to international leaders. And now he's got to set up an international coalition to confront ISIS, but there's very little faith and confidence in Barack Obama's leadership at the moment on the world stage, and that's a real problem.
So from Americans kind of losing confidence, disheartening to see leadership that isn't moving with action as it seems enough. And then from a global perspective, is the president going to have the world with him? Is he waiting for someone else to jump in and take the lead and declare war?
Well, look, from a Pentagon perspective, we very much are looking to build a coalition of the willing, of partners, allies and partners, who are willing to help us in this part of the world. And we've already done that. I mean, you saw the airdrops over the weekend in a little town called Admiral where we were joined by the British and the Australians and the Canadians. And we're gathering more and more international attention to this particular problem. We're going to Wales. In fact, we leave tonight for Wales, Secretary Hagel does. And on the sidelines of the Wales, the NATO summit, he intends to meet with allies and partners who are likewise interested in contributing more to the effort there in Iraq and against ISIL. So it takes a little time. We know we need international partners, but there's a strong commitment, certainly from the military leadership and the defense leadership here at the Pentagon, to build those partnerships.
Admiral, you got to do what the president wants you to do, what the White House serving tells you to do. But it's clear Australia says they're ready to help. They have not been asked. Britain says they're ready to help. They have not been asked. Why isn't there an urgency within Washington to get something done before we lose more journalists and more innocent people and ISIS takes more territory?
Certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to the Sotcliffe family. I want to say that straight out. Nobody likes to see what happened to him or to Mr. Foley. But I will tell you, we have been talking to the British, and we have been talking to the Australians, and I'm speaking now for the Pentagon, and we've been working with them very, very closely. And as I said, they have already helped to contribute in some of the humanitarian missions there. And we're going to meet with more allies and more partners on the sidelines of this NATO summit. So there is an effort going on. We know we need international partners, that it has to be an international solution, and we're going to work on that. The other thing I would add is, you know, after Wales, we go to Georgia, And then we also go to Turkey. And Turkey's a key partner, a key ally in that part of the world, a neighbor of Iraq, and has really vested interest. And we're going to talk to them about their contributions as well.
Before you go, Admiral, yesterday the State Department was reluctant to refer to what is going on as war against ISIS. But clearly, if you're saying the Pentagon, one of the goals is to destroy it, we're at war with ISIS, aren't we?
Well, we're certainly combating them. There's no question about that. I mean, we're hitting them every day. You've seen the press releases out of Central Command in Tampa every single day. So if I was an ISIL terrorist, I would say that America is certainly fighting me very, very hard.
Would you say America is at war with ISIS?
Well, look, I mean, war is one of those very hypercharged words.
Are they at war with us, Admiral?
They are certainly at war with everything we stand for.
Right.
They are at war with our interests in the region, and quite frankly, they pose a threat through the use of foreign fighters to other Western targets.
And you cannot stop them without bombing them in Syria, which is their headquarters, correct?
Well, I think we can't stop them without addressing the Syria issue. There may be a military role for that, but maybe not. I mean, so we've got to work our way through this.
Sure.
Regardless, there has to be an approach to the free reign that they have in Syria. It's almost a non-existent border. They train themselves, they equip themselves in Syria. We have to address that side of it as well.
Sure. Well, we know the Pentagon planners have been working over time trying to come up with some plans. Admiral Kirby, we thank you very much for joining us live.
Thanks for having me, guys.